Hey guys, Steve here, and welcome to another edition of our poker video newsletter. And today we're going to get into a few fun spots with 5-4 suited, which if you've been through some of my trainings or the masterclass, you certainly know this is definitely one of my favorite hands. One of those core 34 hands that we love to 3-bet with, get tricky with, and we can totally mix our play up with these. I play in a regular game almost every week online with some of my buddies. We all used to live in Chicago, and we used to have a regular Monday night game. And that game has since moved online as people have moved all over the country. And we play 1-2. It's capped at a $200 buy-in, and it gets very wild. It plays incredibly aggressive. I would probably compare it to a very aggressive live 5-10 game as far as the level of aggression, 3-betting, and even some light 4-betting. So there's some tough opponents in this game, and I won about $2,000. I think was probably my biggest night in this game. I've probably lost about 1,000 in my worst sessions. It's a lot of action, a lot of fun, very splashy. So I want to take you through an example of a hand here that I played with 5-4 suited, and then also show you just a couple of variations of how things can change or different ways to play it and why we play this controlled chaos style. All right, so we're in the cutoff with 5-4 suited. We have over 700 at this point, still pretty early in the night. And our primary opponent, under the gun +1 here, has about 600. He's a smart thinking player, and LoJack is a loose passive player, so we're not really worried about him. So under the gun +1 raises to 10. LoJack calls. I love 3-betting here, probably upwards of 80% of the time in this spot. Good core 34 hand, but we're just going to smooth call to mix it up here and just kind of keep them guessing. Fold it around, and 3 of us to the flop. And we flop an open ender. It's a rainbow. We have backdoor clubs as well. Under the gun leads out for about 2/3 pot. LoJack calls, and we have to raise here all day long. We just want to get more money in here. We're both pretty deep here. He's got, 3 buy-ins. We're sitting on 3.5, and we would love to build a big pot here. So in position, we're certainly going to raise here to 75. And after thinking, he smooth calls, and the LoJack gets out of the way. So we're heads up, going to the turn, and our equity increases here. We do pick up a club draw now as well. And when he checks to us, what we want to do here is we want to bet enough where we could scare him off and make him pretty hard to call here with the jack. We have tons of equity here still with our open ender and our club draw. So we're going to bet 3/4 pot, and he ends up smooth calling. And unfortunately, the river bricks out. We do make a 5, and he checks to us. So there's 500 in the middle. We have obviously no showdown value here. There's almost certainly no way that he's calling here with like ace queen of clubs or something like that, especially after we raised his flop bet and we bet pretty chunky on the turn. So we got to figure at least a jack. He could be slow playing a set, but this is a good, smart thinking player. And what we want to do here against this type of opponent is we want to bomb this pot at least half the time, maybe 75% of the time, just to keep that aggressive image and to represent what we would do here if we did have, say, a set of 3s or a set of 6s or 2 pair. In this case, we don't, but we still want to represent it. And remember, even if we lose here, we build that good, crazy, aggressive, unpredictable, controlled chaos image that's going to get us paid throughout the session. So we go ahead and just shove here, and he ends up snap calling, which means we probably ran into something big. And we see what actually happened here. We raised him on the flop. He called with just a jack with a king kicker. And then he gets pretty lucky and spikes a king. He hits one of his 3 outs here for 2 pair on the turn. Otherwise, we would have made him pretty tough for him to continue, right? Let's say if he had queen jack here, when we bomb 3/4 pot on the turn, he's not going to love that king. He knows I'm going to probably bomb the river again. So we put him in a real tough spot. But in this case, he happened to turn 2 pair. Unfortunate for us. But at the same time, we see most of the time this would have worked against this type of opponent. So we lose a big one, but we do build our image to get us paid later in the session. And now I want to show you a more typical round out here. So here he raises to 10, LoJack calls, and we just smooth call again. And we get the same flop. He bets out 20, LoJack calls. We pop it to 75 again. He smooth calls again, LoJack folds. And now when the turn is a 9, he checks to us, and we bet 150 again. So what we're doing here, this scenario, he still has the same cards, which I think I can show here. He still has king jack. So he has top pair, second kicker, and we are bombing again here on the turn. he's got to not really love this. We could be doing this with ace jack. We could be doing this with, of course, a set. We could be doing this with a draw like we are. There's lots of possibilities here, and he knows he's just got a naked top pair here, and we're putting a lot of pressure on him. There's certainly a lot of connected draws around these cards. With 6-9, there's 7-8 that's there. There's 8-10, 10-7, 4-5, which we have, Queen 10. So there's a lot of combinations here that could get there on the river, and he's not going to want to face another chunky bet. So he ends up folding because he knows the pressure we're going to put on him on the river. So this is a more likely run out here when he doesn't happen to spike 2-pair on the turn. And then I'll show you one more variation of playing this exact same hand. So the same setup here, but this time we are going to 3-bet. Actually, we're going to squeeze here because there's a raise and a call. And we're going to make it 40. This is probably going to buy us position, which it does. And just the original raiser, the smart thinking player, calls. So now we're heads up and we've got some money in there and we get the same flop. So he's going to check to us in game flow here. And we're going to bet 2/3 pot here. We have lots of possibilities. Remember, we have the backdoor clubs. We have an open ender here, 8 outs there. So he's going to call here when we bet 2/3 pot. I just want to show this example. This is what can happen. This is how you build those huge pots in small stakes games. This is how you win at 1-2 $1,000 pot, or $1,200, $1,500 pots at 1-3, and well over $2,000 pots at 2-5. Is you play this controlled cast style, and every once in a while, when you play this style, you can win without showdown. You can just win with pure aggression, like we did in the previous example, the second example of this hand, where he doesn't turn 2-pair. And we can win a huge pot when we do get there in this spot right here. So when he checks to us, we want to set this up now. He's got 500 behind, there's 200 in the middle. We don't want to bet too big. We want to bet enough where we leave him less than a pot size bet on the river to call with, so it makes it an even easier call. It's going to make it harder for him to resist calling on the river. So he checks, and we just bet 125, and he ends up calling here. So now you see what happens is we've got 464 in the middle, and he's got 75, 80% pot left. So this makes our shove here on this river pretty hard to resist if he's got a pretty good hand. And this time we shove, and he calls, and we see he was just getting sticky with the king jack, thinking that we were bluffing on a draw. So that's the sort of thing that can happen, but he also could have rivered 2-pair with ace jack here. He could have even been slow playing a set of jacks or 6s or 3s here. But I just wanted to show this example of how things can run out. How they happened for me in the session last Monday, I lost a monster pot because he got lucky and turned 2-pair. Otherwise, I probably would have won it with naked aggression like I did in the second example of this hand. And then the third example, I'm just showing you every now and then you're going to make huge hands and people aren't going to believe you, or they just have a second best hand and they're going to call you down because they're so sick of your aggression and your controlled chaos style that you're using to build that crazy table image. So again, it doesn't always work out, but when it does, you win gigantic pots and you can steal a lot of pots you have no business winning with nothing but pure aggression. All right, so I hope you found this helpful. As always, send me your questions, guys. I love answering hand questions. Give me scenarios, something you ran into in the card room, in your home game, something like that. Happy to shoot these videos and help you guys out. All you have to do is hit reply to the email you just opened when you read this and shoot me your question, and I will do my best to work it into the rotation here. All right, see ya.